Welcome to UI/UX Design Academy, your go-to place for mastering UI and UX design. In this video series, we are going to explore the complete flow design process, starting from the very basic like onboarding, account creation, and continue to essential and advanced screens of the application. Whether you are a beginner or refining your skill, this series will help you understand not just how to design each screen but also the logic behind the flow to create a smooth and meaningful user experience. And yes, the Figma source file will be available for download in the description below. If you have questions or feedback, feel free to use the comment section. I am here to help. Also, we have created a Facebook group where you can share your work and get feedback, ask questions. The link to join also in the description, and would love to have you in the community. Okay, so here we are with our first screen, which is onboarding one, and let's start create our first screen. So as we can see, I have already created our screen artboard, and now we need the first thing is to select our screen and convert it to auto layout by pressing Shift A on the keyboard. And as we can see from frame, now this is auto layout frame. Okay, and let's make sure that everything is fill container. So we are going at the same time to make it responsive, and as you can see everything is looking perfect, but instead of this gap, let's make it auto. So now everything is in auto mode, and we are going to select our text, and let's draw a frame for the text, and we are going to type our title, which is welcome to Finovia. Okay, so this is our title text, and first thing we need is to change the size of the title, which is, let's try and make this large. Okay, display large, and I'm going to use enter font, and if you want to use the same font, which is enter, and for the size I'm going to use 52 and the line height is 56. So let's select this, and as we can see here is our title. Let's left align and change the color to this dark color. Okay, make it auto height, and now I'm going to just duplicate this and select this subtitle text, and let's double click, paste our text. Okay, let's remove the bullet and make it smaller text. So paragraph large is fine for this, which is 18. Okay, so 18 and line height is 28, and we are going to make this medium gray, so let's use 500, which is fine. And now select both title and subtitle, make it auto layout frame, and for the gap let's use 16. Okay, and make it fill container, press return key, and make the text and subtitle make it fill container. Okay, so we are going to try to make it responsive at the same time. So let's add space for left and right. So here inside fading I will type 24. Now this is looking good, and we are going to now create center graphics. So for the center graphics, let's select frame tool by pressing F key on the keyboard. As we can see, here is our frame. Now lock the aspect ratio and make it 300. Corner radius should be 999. Okay, and I have already the fill color, so let's try this style. Okay, I have gradients and these meshes, so let's use this 3. Okay, and here we are with our graphic and paste it here. This is looking good, and here is our center graphics. Now we need page control, but before moving to page control, let's right click on this graphic and make it frame selection. Okay, so for this frame selection, which is this one, frame 3, let's convert this frame to auto layout, and instead of hug, let's make it fill container and center line. Okay, so now as we can see everything is looking perfect. Click on assets, and instead let's type page control. Okay, so this is page control, and let's drag it to the artboard. Okay, and make it fill container. Let's make it 3 dots and turn off later, and here we are with our page controller. Okay, now we are going to use button. So for the button, let's type button, and so we have iOS button, Android button, but this is our design system button. So let's drag it to the artboard, and first thing we need is to make this fill container. Okay, and for the roundness, let's make it fully round, and let's turn off icon left and right, and change the text to get started. Okay, so get started, and let's duplicate this and make this outline button, and for the this button let's use log n, and now select these two buttons and convert to auto layout and use the same fading 24. For the gap let's use 16, and for the color we are going to use color, so I have this sharp blue and this is looking good. Now let's make this okay. So let's check the size of this button height, which is 48, so we can make it 16, and 56 is looking good, so let's use 56. And as you can see, here is our button and graphics. Let's check. As we can see, everything is responsive, so this is looking great. Okay, so before moving to the next screen, it is good practice to check that we are sync with our system. As we can see, here is label primary, which is not including in our system, so let's quickly update this to our system, and here we are. Okay, so as we can see, this is not our system, so let's sync it with our system, and system background, make this same with our system. Okay, now we are good to go. Okay, let's check this out. This is black, which is not good, so let's make this. Okay, so we are synced now with our system, but as you can see, here is our background, and background is generic white, so let's make this secondary gray 50%. Okay, and now we are completely okay with this screen, and we can move to the next screen. Okay, so here we are with our second screen. This is the text of the second screen, so we just need to duplicate this screen with the option key and press shift, and here is our second screen. Okay, so for the second screen we have this text. Just copy and simply double click shift command V, which is paste and match the style. Now we need to copy the subtitle and paste and match style. Okay, and we simply need to change center graphics, shift command R, which is paste to replace. So this is our second screen. We simply need to change this to second. Okay, now we need to duplicate this screen again with the third screen. Let's change this to, and we have text for this screen. Okay, so here is our title, and this is the subtitle. Now just copy and paste to replace. Okay, and this is the third screen, so we simply need to delete this, and let's bring closer these. Okay, so here is our onboarding 3 screens. Before moving to the next screen, now it is time to check our colors, typography and auto layout responsiveness. Okay, so the structure of the page is important. Let's quickly select all these, and first we need to check the colors. So everything is synced with our design system, and this is good. Now we need to check the auto layout properties. So everything is in auto layout frame, but as we can see, all the element is in separate auto layout frame. So let's select all these and make it in one frame. Okay, so select only the content. Okay, no status bar and home indicator. So select these and convert it to auto layout. Okay, and now we need to make this, instead of hug, let's make it fill container, and for the gap we are going to use auto, and for this space let's make it 32. Now as we can see, this is our center content frame, and the same thing for this one. So select all the elements and convert to auto layout, make this auto and fill container, and make top and bottom space 32. This is looking perfect, and now let's select this one, convert to auto layout, and for the gap let's make it auto, make it fill container, and top and bottom padding is 32. And here we are with our onboarding, which is now looking perfect. And now we need to start working on the fourth screen. Select screen 3, just duplicate this, and here we are with our screen 4. As we can see here, we have title of the page, so let's copy the title and paste it here. Select subtitle and paste it here. So here we are with our title and subtitle. Now here place progress bar. So for the progress bar here, I find this progress bar inside community. If you want to use the same progress bar, just search in the community this name and you will find this progress bar. Okay, so let's just copy the progress bar. I place it here, just copy and paste here, and simply bring this to the top. So this is the beauty of auto layout. We can, like for example, moving thing around, and we don't need to worry about spacing. As you can see here, we have added 32 spacing. So let's remove this and fully align to the edge. Let's quickly add back button here. So for the back button, I am going to select frame, click here, and for the back button, let's try to use 40. And for the roundness, let's make it fully round. For the color, we have used 50% gray, and this time we are going to make it slightly darker, so let's try 100 for now. And for the icon, let's search with the arrow. So this is material arrow, and doesn't matter, we can change it from here. So let's see if we can find another arrow here. Yeah, this one. So let's try and select this arrow, just paste it here inside the frame and center align. Okay, so I'm using option VH, and for the size, let's make it 20. Here we are. So let's try use bake, and maybe we can convert this to component by option command K, copy and paste it here. Okay, inside this frame. So let's bring it here. Now we are going to slightly organize this. So for this title, now it should be smaller. So for the smaller text, let's use H1 semi bold, and for mobile size. Okay, so the mobile size is fine, and let's make this center line. I think this is 18, so let's try 16 regular. So this is the subtitle, and let's bring this to the top and remove this icon here, slightly decrease the size. So maybe we can make it 96. For the color, I'm going to use same warning color and make it 100. So this is warning. I have already collected icon, so I will just copy this icon and paste it here inside the frame. And for the color, let's select warning, and this time we are going to use 600. So this is our text. This is our icon and this is our text. Now we are going to just delete this thing we don't need, and also remove this button. Next thing we need is to place input here. So for the input, let's search for input, and inside our design system we have these two input. One is line and one is box, so we are going to drag the box one. Okay, so just press command X and paste it here. First thing we need is to make this fill container. Let's quickly organize this. So first we need to make this focused, and for the label, let's type country. Okay, and for the placeholder, let's search for flag. So here is country flag, and here we need to add some text. So maybe United States America. Next we need to remove add-ons. Just delete this, and we don't need payment option. For this icon, let's use this drop down arrow. So we have drop down arrow here, so let's use this arrow. And for the helper text, we don't need helper text here, so let's remove this, and let's check the height of the input. So as we can see here, this is 36, which is slightly smaller, so let's increase. So for this, let's try make it 16, and now let's check this 52, which is looking good. We can use 16, 12, so let's try 12. Okay, and here we are. Okay, now let's double click and double click again. Here is this gap is 4, so let's try and use 12. I think this is looking good. Now we need to convert this to auto layout, so make this frame selection and now convert this to auto layout. For the left and right, make it 24, and select this, make it fill container. Okay, so this is our country. Now select and duplicate it again. Okay, and select our main frame, and here we need to add the space, so let's try 32 for now, and select the second input, make it default. Okay, so the default is fine, and this one will be phone number. For the icon, let's type phone. Okay, so here we are with our phone. For the placeholder text, enter your phone number. We don't need trailing icon, so let's remove this, and here we are. This is the beauty of design system. If you create it one time and then you have to just reuse it. Okay, and for this button we are going to change the text, so let's make this continue. Now we need to organize this, and for this frame, as you can see, we have used auto for the previous one. So for this screen, let's make this remove the auto, and for the gap, let's use 32. For this button, as we can see, we have to create frame selection and make it fill container, convert it to auto layout, and let's add spacing of 24. Now this is looking good. Here we are with our 32 gap. Okay, so for this button we have this terms and condition text, so let's simply copy the text. Before copy the text, let's duplicate this text here. Okay, and copy the text, just double click, paste to replace this text. Terms of services need to be in different colors, so select color blue. Okay, and privacy policy, this should be in blue. We have this underline text, so let's use underline for these two. Let's check this out. Okay, so here is our underline text, and now press command X, paste it here inside this button frame. Now let's increase the spacing, so make it 32. Okay, so for this we need to make this fill instead of hug. Let's make this fill container and set this to the bottom. Okay, so this is our screen, and here we are. As we can see, we've added back button, progress bar, and this graphic element. Here we have input, active and deactive. Here is our fourth screen, which is phone number. Now it's time to create our verification screen. So for this we need to just duplicate screen 4, so press command D on the keyboard, and here we are with our screen 5. Okay, so the first thing we need to change is to this progress bar, so let's make it 10%, and we need back arrow, and here we need to change this icon. So for the icon, let's quickly change this to this icon, so let's select this, copy and paste it here. Okay, paste to replace, and let's change the color to warning 600. Okay, now we need to change our title, so the title is verify your phone, and the subtitle will be. Now select the second line, this is important one to load, so let's make this dark, and for the size let's use paragraph large and semi bold. Okay, and this is looking good. Now we need to create code input, so this will be slightly different, so we need to recreate this. Okay, so let's select frame, press F key on the keyboard and click. Okay, so this is pretty big because last time we have created components, so it took the exact size of the component, so let's make it, so this will be the size of number input, and let's rename this to number. Okay, now we need to change corner radius, so let's make it 12. For the color we need this white color, and let's click on effects and select this focus ring 1. So let's unlink this, and let's change the color to this color. Okay, so this one will be default. Let's select text tool and let's type 0. Center line. For the default we will be using white, so let's make this white, and also we are going to use this semi bold, large semi bold. Okay, center line again. Okay, this is looking good. So now we need to create component by option command K, and let's create variant. So this one will be active, and let's create another variant, and this one will be filled. Let's change this to type, and now we need to select second one and click on effects, and here we need 4. Okay, so this is looking good. Now we need to simply add stroke and make this 1%. For the text we are going to use dark, so dark gray, okay, not neutral. So let's make it dark. Let's add some spacing here, 32, and make this frame fixed to the content. Okay, so now for the active one we need to change this to focus ring 1 again. Yeah, this one 1 pixel. Let's make this one again dark. To make this dark color from here, okay, so this one will be filled. Now we need to press option key and drag copy. Let's press command X. Okay, so we have already copied this output component, and we just simply need to select this component and replace it by a shift command and R. Okay, now we need to just duplicate this, select both, convert to auto layout, and let's reduce the spacing to make this 16. Okay, and let's duplicate this, okay, 6 times. So now this is looking great, and just delete this. But before deleting this we just need this title, bring it here. Okay, just delete this one and select these inputs and make this fill container and center line, and here we are. So select the first 2, or maybe, yeah, 2 is fine. So let's select first 2 and make this filled. Select the third one, make it active, and these 3 need to be default. So for these 2, let's make this 1, 2 and 3. I think we don't need this label, so let's delete this, and here we are with our input for the number. Okay, now we simply need to select this and duplicate it here. Let's type, I think we need to make this link color. So for the link, let's type primary, also make this underline. Let's duplicate this again. Okay, so here we are with our phone verification screen, and now we are ready to create our next screen. So let's move this component to this component section and let's place it here. Okay, so as you can see, we are using component at the same time. Our screen is looking perfect. Okay, duplicate screen 5. Let's modify progress bar. So we are making this, double click, and let's try to make this 20. Okay, and let's quickly change the text and icon. So for the icon, let's change this to notification, and for the text, okay, so now we need a list item. So for the list item we have in design system, but it's required a lot of work. So let's quickly create our own list. Okay, so first we need to select frame and click. So as we can see, we have 48 by 48 frame, which is good. And for the corner radius, let's make it fully round. For the color, we are going to use primary this color, which is 50. And now we need to search for the icon, to place icon here. So I have these icons, I will use this. So just copy the first icon, paste it here. Okay, let's center line, and this one will be icon. Now we are going to select text tool, and here we will list title goes here. Okay, so now we need to check this text, and here is medium paragraph, medium. I think this is good. Let's try medium large. We can change it later, but let's leave it for now, and let's convert this to auto layout. As you can see, here is the gap is 21, so let's make it 16. And for the color, we are going to make this dark color, which is gray 900. So now let's rename this, so make this list item. Okay, and convert this to component. Duplicate this, press command X, and here we are going to replace this. Let's paste it here. So we have this auto layout, and now let's simply delete this text. Also, let's delete this frame, and we need to make this fill container. We are going to select this text and make this fill container. Okay, so here we are. Now we need simply to duplicate this 1 2 3 4 and select the main frame, and for the gap let's use 16, and we can make this interactive. Okay, so we can select this title and click on this icon. So let's first create property. So click on this and select text property, and for the name let's use title. List title goes here. Maybe for the future reference this is good to explain it. So let's create. Now we need to assign this title property. We can change, as you can see, from here. So the icon is okay, but let's change the text. So let's select this and select second list. For the icon, let's quickly change the icon to alert, and this one is fine. Select this list and make this, and for the icon we are going to use this icon. Let's make this one is, and here we are. Okay, so now I have placed icons here, and we can select these are the master components, so it's a good practice to change it here. And now we need to cut this component from here. So let's select this frame and paste it inside. Okay, now we need to update our button. For this button we are going to use this enable push notifications, and let's duplicate this. For this button we are going to use outline button. Let's quickly change the color, make this darker color, and for the text not now. And now as you can see we have fixed size for the height. Let's quickly adjust it. Okay, so let's first make this 32 and make this hug content. Select this one and make this hug content. Select this frame and make it hug content. Okay, now we are going to remove this value 32, and everything is looking perfect, but here is the spacing issue. So let's convert this to auto layout frame and make this 16. Okay, so this screen is slightly height is bigger from this screen, and everything is perfect inside auto layout. And here we are with our list. Okay, so that's it, our notification screen. Okay, so now we are going to create our next screen. So for this we need to just duplicate this screen. So let's duplicate this, and now this is screen 7. So first we need to select our progress bar. Let me select this. Okay, so finally I select status bar, and now we need to simply change. First thing is to map icon. Okay, so for the map icon I think this is looking good. Next we need to change the title. So for the title, change the text. Now as we can see we have updated our icon, title, subtitle. Let's reuse the same element for the country, and I noticed that we use the drop down, and this is basically selector. So for the selector we will have this icon. Okay, so let's use the proper icon, which is okay. So we have updated our icon, and now copy the country input, and here we are going to replace this with, delete this one, and let's delete this one, and select the main frame, and this is hug, so that is why it shrink once the content is deleted. So let's make this from X and select this last element and make this fill container. Okay, what's wrong? Okay, so let's make this fill container and select this one, fill container. Okay, and this is looking good. Now let's update the label. So let's change this to just copy this text and paste it here. Here is our label. Okay, let's delete this button. Maybe let's turn off, so hide the button, and everything is auto layout, so we don't need to worry about structure. Just change the text to continue, and this is our screen 7, which is looking good. Okay, so let's create full name screen. So for this we need to select screen 7 and duplicate this, and first we need to select our progress bar and let's increase it to 40%. Next we need to change the icon first, so icon of the user, yeah, this one. So let's update it and let's make this one is 602. So now we need to change the title and subtitle, so slightly change our input. So for the input we don't need trailing icon. For the leading icon, let's search for the user. So here we have user, let's use this user. For the label, okay, so here we are with our full legal name, and for the description let's change this to, okay, so for this input we need helper text, so let's select input field and show helper text. Okay, so let me copy and paste the helper text. This is looking good. Okay, so one thing we need for this screen is a toaster message. Okay, so for this we have in the system inline. Let's search for inline, and here we are with our inline. We need to paste it here inside the content frame, and let's bring this here because I don't want to change the position of this element, so let's place it here. And first thing we need is to right click and make it frame selection, convert to auto layout, and make it fill container. Select inside content and make it fill container. Okay, so for this main frame let's add some spacing. 24 we are using, so let's use 24. So we don't need close button, so let's remove this. We also don't need description, so let's delete description, and let's make it primary. Okay, so for the leading icon let's search shield, and here we are with our shield icon. So let's quickly change the color, make it 800. Okay, and for these two button we don't need these two button, and we don't have option for this, so let's quickly hide these. Sorry, let's select proper button and hide it. Okay, now inside this frame let's hide this one, and as we can see let's slightly round toaster message, so let's make it 12. Okay, so I just copy the exact text. Maybe we have option to paste it here, so let's paste it here. So this is our message, and we are going to use this in several screens, so let's keep it this way. Okay, and here is our full name screen and everything is looking perfect. Let's check the screen height, and we are happy with this size. And let's create our next screen, which will be date of birth screen. So let's quickly create. So for this let's duplicate and let's quickly change the icon. So we have calendar icon. Okay, this one. So let's use this icon and let's change the color to this color. For the title we have, I'll just copy and paste the title. Okay, so for the subtext we are going to use this text. For the notification text, for the notification text we are going to use this text. Let's change icon, so let's use for check. So this icon's looking good. Okay, so now we need here 3 inputs and the smaller input. So one will be for the month, day and year. Okay, so for this we need to modify this input. So let's first we will be also need helper text. So let's duplicate this text and keep it here. Okay, now we need to just simply remove the helper text, make this default, and turn off leading and show the trailing icon. Okay, and selector is fine. So for this text let's make this month. Now let's duplicate this 3 times and select. Okay, and here we are. So for this one let's make this one day. now we need to place this text inside this frame. Okay, and one thing more, let's duplicate this, bring it here, and this section need title, so date of birth. Okay, and change this to darker text, maybe this text. Okay, and let's make this one is, I think this is looking good, so let's use this one, and let's check the spacing, so let's make it 16, and these text need to add. So for the helper text, I have this text, and we will be using the exact same text. I think we didn't change this, so let's select progress bar. So let's select this frame and make it 50%. Everything's looking perfect. Let's move to the next screen. Okay, so here we are, and now we are going to create our address screen. So for the address screen, as I am looking at this screen, so as we can see, we have slightly modified our auto layout in this frame, which is screen 6, and now we just simply duplicate this screen, and here we are. Okay, so let's increase the spacing between the screen, and here we are. So the first thing we need is to simply change this icon, so which is location. Let's use this icon, and let's use warning 600. Okay, one thing, let's quickly update our progress bar, which is looking great, and now we need to update our title and subtitle. So I have already the copy of this title, I will just copy and paste it here. Same thing for the subtitle, just copy and paste. Okay, for the center section, let's simply delete this. Here now we need toaster message, so just copy and paste inside frame. Let's paste it here. Okay, and for the text, paste to replace and escape. Let's use location. Okay, so for the location, I'm going to choose wrong icon, so let's simply select location and use this icon. Okay, so here we are with our toaster message, and now we are going to use input field. So for the input field, let's copy this field with auto layout frame and paste it here. Okay, so inside this frame, and here we are. Okay, so now we need to select this and turn off helper text. We are using multiple inputs, so I think it is good practice to turn off leading icon. Now update our input. Okay, so the first thing, let's update the labels, and for this text, let's type 1 2 3. Now we need to duplicate this input here. Okay, and let's update our text. Okay, so let's change this to default. Okay, so and duplicate this again, and let's duplicate this again, select both, convert to auto layout and make this horizontal. Okay, so let's change this to city. Let's duplicate this again. Here we need trailing icon, select this. We are going to, I think this icon is fine, and for the country text, this is looking great. And now we need to copy this text and paste it here, maybe paste inside this frame. Let's copy and paste, update the text. We need to delete this button. Okay, so here we are with our address screen. Okay, so now we are going to create our email address screen, and for this we need to duplicate this screen, screen 8. Okay, so let's simply zoom in by shift 2 and select progress bar first. Let's zoom in. Okay, so let's select it here, and this time we are going to make this 60%. Okay, next we need to change this icon here, so let's make this, I think we have the icon, so let's quickly check this out. Email. Okay, and here we are with the icon. So okay, now we need to update our title and subtitle. Let's update our toaster message. Okay, and for the icon we are going to use, okay, so this is the icon, and now let's quickly update our input. Okay, and here we are with our email address screen. Okay, so far so good. Now we are going to create password creation screen. Okay, so for this we are going to duplicate this screen with the option key, and now here we are. Okay, so first we need to select our progress bar, and here is our progress bar. Okay, now let's make this 70%. Let's quickly change the icon. So for the icon we are going to use cool looking icon. Okay, so let's use this icon. Let's change the color to 600. Okay, so let's quickly change the title and subtitle. So I have already the title text. Let's copy and paste, and let's quickly change the icon. Okay, create password. So for the password, let's select press O on the keyboard, and we are going to select ellipse tool, click, and here we are with 100 by 100 ellipse. So let's make it 16 by 16. Let's quickly zoom in. First we need to change the color and apply the stroke. So let's make this light 100, and okay, instead of 100 let's use 300. Okay, first let's convert this to component by option command K, and now create variant. So click. For the variant, let's make this dark color. Okay, let's make this password, rename this default and fill. Okay, and type. Now let's press command X on the keyboard. Okay, let's, before moving component section, let's drag copy and let's quickly change it. So press command X on the keyboard and select our input and press shift command R. Now let's duplicate this 6 times, and let's make this horizontal and center line. Okay, so for the top and bottom let's try 32 to add some spacing, and let's fill out first 3. Okay, to fill, and now we don't need this text, so let's delete this, and in the asset panel just type keyboard. Okay, so for the keyboard let's drag iOS default keyboard. Let's simply press command X on the keyboard and shift command R, paste to replace. Okay, let's close this panel, select this frame and make this fill container. Hug content is fine, let's make it hug content. Now let's select it again, remove padding from left and right, and select keyboard, and let's make this number and punctuation. Let's make it fill container, remove home indicator from the bottom. Okay, so now let's quickly design our keyboard. Just add some slight color. I don't like this default look, so let's quickly change the color. This 300 color is fine, and change the color of this section. So let's remove drop shadow and let's make this more darker. So let's try 400. Let's quickly change corner radius, make it 12 to make it smoother. Let's light off this background. So for the light version this keyboard is looking good. Okay, so here we are with our password screen creation. Cut component, select this component. Okay, and instead of center let's make this, let's paste new component here. Okay, so I have slightly modified the screen and add this title, also fully round this button. Okay, we are ready to just duplicate this screen, and let's change the title. Okay, so instead of create let's make this confirm passcode. Okay, and here we are with our confirmation screen. Okay, so now create identity verification screen. Duplicate this screen because we are creating new components for the list. Doesn't matter which screen we are duplicating. Okay, so I think this screen is fine, and now let's quickly change the icons. This icon's looking good, and now let's change the title and subtitle of the screen. Now this section need a new design, so for this let's update this text first and then create our list. Select ID type. Okay, now delete this section, and here we need a new frame, so let's select frame and click. So Figma by default create 100 by 100 frame. Okay, so we will start from here. Let's make this fill container, and for the corner radius let's try 20, make it white fill. Okay, convert this to auto layout and select this frame, which is this list. Rename this list, right click and make it frame selection again. Now convert it to auto layout, and this time we are going to add 24 by 24 padding. Okay, as we can see now this frame become fixed height, so we are going to make this fill container. So create another frame inside this frame, so let's click, and the size of this frame should be 48 by 48. Okay, and make this primary this color. Okay, and let's remove top and lip padding. Okay, so select this frame, let's make this 12 for the round, and for the top and bottom spacing let's make this 16, left and right, and top and bottom 16. And select this frame, and instead of fixed let's make this hug. Okay, which is looking good. And now create label for this. Okay, so this is the label. Let's make this h6 mobile. For the color, this color. Okay, now let's duplicate this again, select both, convert to auto layout, make it vertical, and this time we are going to make this paragraph, and let's try 14 regular. Okay, and let's make this. Okay, so I have update label text, which is h6 semi bold. Okay, and mobile size, and this one is paragraph small regular, which is 14. Now let's make this proper. So I have already this circle, so let's use it, this one. So let's select circle and press command X. We will be used again because we don't need to recreate this circle. So this is basically radio button, we will be using for radio button purpose. Okay, and now let's center line, and for this text let's make this fill container. This is looking good. Now use icon. So for the icon let's quickly zoom in. I forgot the name of the icon, so let's copy one icon like this icon. So let's copy this icon. As we can see, this is pretty extensive flow and very useful. Okay, so now let's select this text and grab the color from here, and let's make it light color. Okay, something like this. Now let's use screen and let's make this slightly darker color. Okay, so this is our list template, and create component from this template. We will reuse it again. Okay, so press option command K, and this is the master component. Now let's duplicate this, select the master, press command X, paste it here outside the frame. Now we don't need this section, so instead of deleting this, let's select this section. Okay, and paste it here, and also copy home indicator and paste in the main frame here. Okay, duplicate this frame. Yeah, we are going to use 3 list item for the spacing. Okay, so now as we can see, we have created our list, and which is component. Let's quickly modify this section, and then we are moving back to our list. Okay, so let's make this hug content. We don't need that much space, and now I think everything is looking perfect. Let's quickly update the title and the subtext for each list. We update our content, and now let's change icons. So the icon is slightly tricky because we are going to copy this color code, and now let's simply select again the icon, and for this one now let's simply double click here inside the icon, add fill and paste this color, make this 100, and for the layer mode we are going to use screen. Okay, and this is how you can change the color of the png. And let's change this to this icon here. Let's double click and here add another fill and make this 100. okay, and change the blend mode to screen. So this is how you can change the color of the png if you don't have svg icon, so you can use png and change the color. So this is our identity verification screen, and here is our list we created. We can also make this interactive, but okay, so let's cut this and paste it here inside our components. Let's paste it and increase the width. Okay, so now we are going to create a document uploading screen, and for this let's duplicate screen 14. And I noticed that I didn't update the progress bar, but let's update here in this screen. So let's make this 90%. In this screen we are going to remove this graphic elements. Now we are going to simply update our title, subtitle. Okay, so we are going to remove this section. Let's search for the upload. Okay, so here we have in the system this file upload. This element we are going to use for the upload. So let's select frame and let's paste it here. Maybe paste it here in this frame. Make it fill container. For the icon we use upload this color. Okay, so for the roundness let's make this 12. Okay, maybe let's try 20. Yeah, 20 is fine. Okay, for color let's make this primary 50 and let's make this 200. Here we need a button, so just duplicate this button and make sure that we paste in this section. For the button use left icon and camera, make it white. Okay, for the color let's make this color. So here we are, and I think we need to decrease the height, so let's select the button, and for the top and bottom let's make this 12. Okay, 12 is fine, so let's use 12. Let's remove this, and also these two elements we are going to use this one. So let's detach this element first from the component. Now we don't need. Okay, so for this let's make this top to bottom. Okay, mean vertical auto layout, select this one and center line. Okay, and let's bring this to the left side. Now duplicate this. Okay, so now let's change the size of the text, make it 12. Change the color of the fill, so let's make this. Okay, and I noticed that this circle need to be smaller, so let's make it 8. Title file requirements. Okay, let's make this fill container some spacing to the top. Okay, and make it a content. Okay, select this one and okay, let's change the size of the screen 956. Okay, and make this fill container. Okay, so we are going to create the last screen of the flow, and let's quickly zoom in that which screen is appropriate to design. And I think this screen will be good to start with, so let's duplicate. So this is screen 16, and okay, so first thing we need is to duplicate and make this 100. Okay, so the progress bar should be 100, and let's quickly change the icons. Replace this with this icon. Okay, and now change the title and subtitle. And now we need for the toaster message, copy this toaster message and just paste it here, and let's replace the text. Change icons. Okay, so for the center content we use this list, so let's simply duplicate, copy and paste to replace. Okay, and next we need to detach this from the instant because we are going to modify this. Okay, so we don't need this icon here, and also this radio button. Next, ungroup this and let's bring this to the left and right, and let's check. Okay, so for this one, paragraph small, and this one is paragraph. Okay, so let's make this medium 16, and also make this paragraph medium and regular. And let's quickly change this, so this will be the title and this will be the data. Okay, so for this auto layout, let's quickly make this auto, and this one should be from align right. Okay, so now to just create another auto layout inside this auto layout frame, and simply duplicate this. Okay, and make this vertical, and let's duplicate this again. I think we need this slightly smaller, so let's make this, instead of 16, let's try 14. So 14 regular and 14 semi-bold. This is looking good. Now add a separator. So for the separator we need line, so let's select line and press Command X, and let's paste it here. Now duplicate this again. Now to make this very light, so let's use this 100. Okay, and this is looking good and data is visible. Okay, so now let's update button text. Okay, so let's select button and add the text. So here we are with the last screen of the flow, and which was privacy policy, and that's it. And as we can see, we have designed this complete flow of creating account, and these are the most essential and necessary for every application. And once we design this and we have this source file, we can use it for any project, and this is really flexible. And I designed this very essential like generic stuff, so you can use it where you want, and everything is editable. As you can see, we have used auto layout, components, variants, and that is the beauty of how you can change things simply just by changing the master component. And that's it for the today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you in the next tutorial.